Hello, my beauties. Welcome back to Glow Up with Shelly. Today's video is going to be all about something that we all as women struggle with big time, and that's menopause, okay? So you're gonna wanna see this video because there's a lot of groundbreaking evidence that you don't have to suffer from those menopause symptoms anymore. We just don't have to do it. But there's something that we're all missing here, and I'm gonna talk all about it. So stick around, discover some science-backed strategies that you can use to really stave off those menopause symptoms. So let's get going. Remember, this channel is all about glowing up, transformative skincare, flawless makeup, and a lifestyle to match. If that resonates with you, hit subscribe. Don't forget to ring the notification bell. I want you to know when I post future videos. Okay, so as many of you know, last November, my life was sort of turned upside down. Pretty big, because I got emergency custody. I received emergency custody of my special needs niece. She was nonverbal, still in diapers, and she was 5. It was a whole lot. She had a whole lot of trauma, a whole lot of special needs. And suddenly my routine, and at that point I'd been doing blue zone diet, was just like thrown out the window. Okay. Everything just had to kind of center around her, which is great. Wonderful, right? But in the process, I sort of let my own gut health suffer. So let's go back. Let's put that story on the back burner and let's talk about menopause, because a lot of people don't know that menopause actually really impacts your gut health, like big time. Right? And according to several studies, estrogen deficiency during menopause can lead to changes in your gut microbiome. This shift in your microbiota is known as dysbiosis. And it actually has an impact on the symptoms of menopause for most women, and does affect our overall health. And that's been one of the things that has been shown in these studies, is that not only does the gut microbiome or microbiota affect your menopause symptoms, but menopause itself then has an impact on gut microbiota. And so what happens is you start to slip in one area, and then pretty soon your entire health is out of whack. You're suffering from massive menopause symptoms, and you're like, what is going on? Because I considered myself pretty healthy, right? And it's part of this delicate balance where your menopause, as your estrogen levels dip, that gut bacteria begins, the really healthy, flourishing, the gut bacteria that you want starts to die off, and some of that bad bacteria begins to kind of take hold. Our gut microbes play a huge role in inflammation throughout our body and also in our metabolism. So an imbalance in bad bacteria versus good bacteria can lead to things like inflammation. It can actually really worsen symptoms like mood swings, weight gain, skin problems, migraines. I mean, you name it, it's a menopause or perimenopause symptom. Hot flashes, right? So all of these things can be worsened by less diversity in our microbiota. So let's go back to my story. So I took emergency custody of my special needs niece while we were waiting for my sister to apply for guardianship. That was a struggle. It was a real big struggle. There were a lot of things that came up during that time period, and my health really took a big turn for the worse. So first, when my sister took my niece, I kind of suffered a little bit of depression. That was a really hard ordeal. We had a lot of family feuds going on because of it. It just really kind of hit the family hard and really hit me hard in general. I began to get a little bit more depressed. We started really, and this was all kind of leading up to the wedding. So in that December, January, February kind of time period, I was really trying to get back on track, eat blue zone, do all the things, but I found myself eating more like convenience foods. I found myself reaching more for the chocolate during meetings because like at work, they'll bring chocolate, they'll bring snacks and things like that. And I found myself indulging a lot more than I had previously. I also found myself eating DoorDash more often, just like those quick, not like fast food, because I don't eat fast food, but like restaurant food, which probably is just as bad, if not worse than fast food. So I really was not doing everything I was supposed to be doing. And my health kind of hit rock bottom. I had some problems with my anemia. My iron stores were completely depleted in my body. And I had to go on emergency iron infusions at the hospital, which was so fun, let me tell you, because you go into a room, it's like you're with all of the people who like have to have infusions and stuff, and they take you into this room and they sit you on this giant chair, and then you're just basically like strapped to this, what do they call those things? IVs. You're strapped to an IV and you have to just sit there for like 2 hours while they pump a bunch of iron into your blood. So that was really fun. And I had to do that for several weeks. And so like I really just, my health took a huge turn, which is unusual for me. Part of it is I was eating out a lot more. And so when I eat out more, I was tending to eat meat more. So luckily my iron was able to recover, but I started having menopause symptoms. And I've had perimenopause symptoms here and there, but like this was bad perimenopause symptoms. And started having night sweats, mood swings, weight gain, skin problems. Like my skin was red, it's splotchy, it's so oily, not as firm as it usually is, just really kind of rough and also very dry. It's like dry and oily at the same time. So it's really like, I've just been having all kinds of symptoms. And I realized as I was doing research for something else, like when I started this whole journey on the gut microbiota, I realized like, oh my God, it's probably related to my gut. Like I always eat healthy. I usually try to like, not have very much sugar. And like this whole, probably from November on, I have not been doing any of that. Like, it's not like I've been eating like really bad, like going out and eating fast food and drinking a lot of alcoholic drinks. That's not like I've been doing that, or a lot of packaged foods, or a lot of, those, like I haven't been eating like Twinkies, and stuff like that, but I have not been where I should be with my gut health and eating the kinds of foods that promote that and doing the kinds of things that promote that. So let's talk about what those things are. So first, definitely with skincare, you want to be trying to get as much collagen in your skincare as possible, right? Boost that collagen, make sure you're using the retin A, make sure you're using those peptides like matrixyl, things like that. But also, using something like an EGF serum to try to boost, some of those fibroblasts to go back to their more youthful selves and produce the abundance of that collagen, because that's what you really, 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 really need. But also making sure that you keep your moisture and your skin barrier intact. So using lots of hydration and using occlusive moisturizers that lock in all of that hydration with ceramides is going to help you a lot, because remember, transepidermal water loss is one of the biggest things that women suffer during perimenopause and menopause. So dryness it's a real deal, and women can get dry all over, if you catch my drift. It is a serious issue with perimenopause and menopause, and that's something that we really don't talk about enough. It's like, keep doing the same things that you're doing, but I say moisturize more as you go into perimenopause and into menopause, right? We should be using those occlusive moisturizers because you need to make sure that you protect against that transepidermal water loss. For myself, this came a few weeks ago when I started my gut microbiota video, and I was like, this has got to change. I've got to change my gut health because it's not I want to go into my elder years being physically fit and, upbeat and positive and healthy and feeling good, right? I don't want to feel bad. That's not the goal. And it's hard. It's hard because changing the way we do things is a challenge, especially in our modern society where we're all so busy. So here's what I'm doing now, and here's what you can do as well. Definitely I'm incorporating more pro and prebiotics into my diet. Things like isoflavonoids can actually increase your beneficial gut bacteria, like bifidobacterium, which is one of those that is plays a key role in being a beneficial bacteria that really help make the rest of your bacteria flourish, reduce inflammation, and improve your gut health overall. So definitely eating products that have soy in them, tempeh, tofu, things like that. You can even eat like soy yogurt or fermented and also contain those isoflavonoids. I'm also going to start focusing on the blue zone diet, lots of vegetables and lots of starchy, fiber-rich vegetables. So I'm going to, not only do they do vegetables improve your gut health, but they also improve your menopause symptoms as well. So I'm going to eat lots of potatoes, sweet potatoes, squash, beans, seeds, nuts, wild rice, barley, quinoa, those whole grains. I just got some unprocessed rye bread from the bakery. So and I don't eat a lot of bread. Like, bread is not my thing. I really don't have bread very often, but I like to have a piece of crusty bread with my soup. And so that's a nice whole grain. You want to make sure they're whole, unprocessed foods because that's going to help lead to an improvement in that gut health. And I say like a wide diversity of vegetables is the most important thing you can do. You really need to have a good variety of vegetables. And I make lots of soups, stews, curries, things like that as my main meal. I have salad every day for lunch. And for breakfast, I'm going to be eating either a vegan yogurt or I'm going to be eating a bowl of oatmeal sweetened with mashed banana. So that's one thing my brother and I found like years ago when he was in college. He was really into bodybuilding. I was really into bodybuilding at the same time. So we both kind of got into it together. And one of the things that he shared with me is like, oh, guess what? I mash a banana and put it in my oatmeal and it tastes like it's sweetened with sugar. We've been doing this for years. I do it and you don't need any sugar in your oatmeal. So oatmeal sweetened with that banana, add some blueberries to it and some walnuts. Yum, yum, yum. That's actually perfect for your gut bacteria because the oatmeal is going to help feed that gut bacteria and the blueberries are as well. Those are a superfood. I am going to eat for my body. I'm going to cut out a large portion of the dairy. That doesn't mean I'm not going to have a little bit of dairy here and there, but I'm definitely not going to make dairy a daily thing. And I'm not going to make meat a daily thing right now either. I'm just going to focus on the fruits and vegetables. And I might, like I said, I might have some meat, but it's definitely going to be less than I did before. So cleaning up that diet. Another thing that's super important is physical activity. So really, there are so many studies on physical activity and gut health. There are so many studies on physical activity and menopause. Physical activity really helps reduce menopausal symptoms. It helps increase bone density and stave off bone loss. Now, really, bone density itself is only increased by things like stomping. And there are doctors who recommend that you stomp daily. Right? Climb stairs, kind of stomping daily because osteoporosis is real. We really do have problems with our bones that happen as a result of menopause. As our estrogen declines, so does a lot of other things in our body and our bones suffer as a result. Definitely trying to remain active, doing things like walking, dancing, running, jumping. Now, if you're not one that can do high impact, and I'm not saying high impact is great, I don't know. I don't think that high impact exercises are wonderful for people. I think they're so easy to injure yourself. When I say impact, I mean things that are going to, like stomping, that's going to help strengthen your bones, right? They give a little bit of impact, maybe not where you're like, jumping throughout a whole workout. I just don't think that that's good for people our age either. So you have to kind of have that balance. I do a lot of dancing. I love it. I walk, fast walk, speed walk is one of my favorite things to do. Physical activity, and especially vigorous physical activity, is supposed to be really beneficial for women in menopause. And a lot of the studies have shown that when women exercise vigorously, right, they often ward off most of the menopausal symptoms, which is fascinating. And this has been found in more than one study. Menopause really is a huge time for change, right? There's so many things that happen to us as women as we age and go into perimenopause, and then further into menopause as we lose function of our uterus. We have a tendency to look at menopause like it's a scary thing, like there's nothing we can do about it. It's kind of inevitable. We want to go to doctors and have them just supplement us with hormones. And that's not really right for everyone. Not everyone can supplement with hormones. So yes, you could supplement with hormones, and it's going to make your menopausal symptoms much lighter. It's going to alleviate them, but that's not always the best course of action for everyone. Some people have higher cancer risks. So some people have, conditions and issues where they can't supplement with hormones. And in that case, it's really important to pay attention to that gut health, because the gut health is going to help alleviate those symptoms. The healthier you get your gut, the more you're going to be able to stop those perimenopause and menopausal symptoms before you're suffering, right? Because we don't want to suffer. Like, that's not the goal. If you are thinking about HRT, I'm not against HRT. I think HRT is wonderful. Once I get my uterus out, I probably will do HRT myself. I think there's a lot of value and benefit in it, and I think it's important also for keeping us young, but that doesn't mean that everyone's a candidate for it. And so if you talk to your doctor and doctor's like, you're just not a candidate for it, then you have to do something else. And in addition, even if you're on HRT, that's not a guarantee that you have good gut health to begin with. So why not just, cover both ends, right? Even if you're going to do HRT, really get that gut health in line. Because I want you to join me in incorporating more whole foods, more prebiotics and probiotics, more phytoestrogens, and, really working out to stay healthy and to stave off those perimenopause symptoms. Because really, if we can do something this free, it's not free. The food is expensive, right? Vegetables and fruits can be more expensive. One of the tips that I do is I buy a ton of vegetables. So I buy tons. So I'll get like a deal of celery. I'll get like a big bag of carrots. I buy all organic, so it is a little bit pricier. I'll get like a couple of organic peppers. I'll get like some organic squash, whether it's acorn squash or, summer squash right now, zucchini and yellow squash, and then I'll get some kind of potato, either a sweet potato or a regular potato. I'll get garlic, I'll get some onions, I'll get tomato, so basically it's a ton, and then they're all chopped up, and I separate them into like 3 to 4 bags, and I'll freeze some of those bags. I also do like a chard or a kale or some kind of green as well. I want to try to get as much variety in my food as possible. And so then I cut those up and I portion them out into big bags that are full of all the vegetables. And then I use those for stir fries, soups, stews, curries, anything that I am doing. And that's one way to save money, because even though I'm spending like $40 on a bunch of vegetables, those are going to last me for multiple meals because I separate them into smaller groups, and then I just use them for my meal, like in my crock pot or wherever I am or whatever I'm doing to create that meal. And also keep in mind that a lot of these studies, right, are small sample sizes. They're also reliant on self-reported data that can affect the generalizing, okay, that's done in the findings. So we have to keep that in mind and be aware of that. But I think all of the evidence points to the fact that menopause really impacts your gut. Our gut is also massively impacted by our Western diet. We have so much sugar and chemicals and all kinds of stuff in our food that's really killing off our good gut bacteria and helping that bad bacteria flourish. So we know this is happening. We know that we have those that menopause affects that. We know the Western diet affects that. We know processed foods affect it. And the question is, what can we do about it? And the switch is so easy. It's so simple. So I really want you to look at these kinds of interventions and try to take some of this stuff out of your diet more and more. Also, those artificial sweeteners, take those out too. I know they're good. I know they make things taste better. Actually, I don't like artificial sweeteners, but I know a lot of people do. They make things taste sweet even when they're not sweet. That's great, but sugar should come with that fiber. And if you're gonna eat anything with sugar, have it with some fruit, because that fiber will help you not absorb that sugar too quickly, and it won't lead to those blood sugar spikes. Okay, I hope you really enjoyed this about gut microbiota and how it affects menopause. Keep staying healthy, keep staying beautiful, and I will see you next time on Glow with Shelly.